Okay, now I'm recording.
Hi, Tarun. Welcome.
Yeah, it's not like we've been recording for the past 6 minutes. Oh my god, Tarun. Well, sorry, fellas. People watching this podcast, people listening to this podcast. We actually had some great cold open material we could have used, but this is gonna have to do instead because Tarun didn't switch on his recording equipment. Yay!
Welcome back, everyone, to our third episode of Offset, where we discuss films, games, and everything in between. I'm Tarun.
I'm Tim.
And I'm Krishna.
All of us just watched the PS5 game stream, the reveals, and especially the console reveal, which I think what everyone was really looking forward to. But first things first, I think let's talk about the games. The first thing we got was GTA 5. Surprise. Anyone interested?
I am, yeah. I haven't played GTA before, so I'm excited to get the new version.
I'm not particularly interested, just because it's been out for years
7
now.
years. 7 years.
7 years. One GTA game. Talk to me about GTA 6. Then maybe a bit more interested. But no, this is just like oh, we're reporting it. Is basically what they're saying.
Yeah, same story for me. When I saw the Rockstar logo, I was like, holy shit, are they finally doing GTA 6? Then it just had to be 5 again. Like, I thought we were done. A very disappointing start to the stream, but right after we got something really exciting, and I think what at least Tim and I are looking very much forward to is Spider-Man. It's focused on Miles Morales. I assume this will be a launch title with the PS5.
With this sort of stream, they announced this new game, which is coming out holiday 2020, which is sort of in the same time frame as the PS5. Neither of them sort of have like a firm sort of release date. This is when you can get it in stores yet. So we're not 100% sure that it is a launch title, but it would sort of make sense. Obviously, there has been some confusion about sort of what this game is. Some people thought, wow, it's like a full new game. That's not the case. I don't think it is. Then there was some Sony exec who went to sort of try and clarify what it was. And he said it's sort of like an expansion or like an enhancement of the...
Let's just say he used some confusing terms which confused a lot of people about the state of this game.
Yeah, it was very confusing. I think Insomniac have now come out and sort of said that this is a spin-off in the sort of same sort of vein as Uncharted Lost Legacy.
Yes, it's a standalone game.
So that's the kind of what we're looking at, and that sort of fits in with the whole, how we developed it in what is in game terms kind of quite a short time.
Playing as Miles Morales, which is exciting. I think it's the first Spider-Man game where we get to play as someone else rather than Peter Parker.
This was a complete surprise to me, actually. I saw the single shot of Miles and I was like, wow, they're actually doing it.
What looks good to me is they've actually I know we haven't seen much gameplay yet. But we sort of seen that, he has his powers of invisibility and the electric shock, which is kind of cool. And, I think they're taking a lot of inspiration from Into the Spider-Verse in sort of making this game. Because I think, wow, if you're going to take inspiration from something Spider-Man, that's a pretty good place to take it, I think.
Well, I think they're just taking inspiration from the character.
Yeah, the character is growing in popularity because of the movie and all that kind of stuff. So
I believe he was introduced in the Ultimate universe of the comics, and traditionally Miles Morales becomes Spider-Man after Peter Parker dies. Obviously, that's not the case in this game.
We don't know yet.
I doubt they're
going to kill him off that easily.
They're trying to kill him off in a standalone game before the sequel comes out.
That's what they're building up towards, though, isn't it? Is the sequel, like the full sequel.
This is supposed to be like an in-between between Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man 2.
I mean, I would not be surprised to see Spider-Man, well, I guess they would call it Spider-Man 2, right?
Yeah, I think so.
As, a couple, 2-3 years after this game is released.
I don't know, I'm just excited to swing around as Miles Morales. It seems from the animation they've made him a lot more flexible and acrobatic, which as a younger man of, I think, 15 or 16 years of age, it makes sense he would be. And yeah, just excited to see how the game will play out on the PS5 with ray tracing and a much more detailed environment of New York.
Yeah, so obviously, way before all this stuff sort of started about the PS5, before we knew anything about it, before Sony officially confirmed it, you guys do remember there was that whole leaked presentation where they showed off Marvel Spider-Man, that game running on PS5 technology.
Yeah.
And they were making a lot of noise about how the SSD was going to help, remove all the loading times and improve the game's performance in general. So this is kind of cool. I think, well, obviously they've really taken that forward and they're actually like, what if we do like a Spider-Man project? Obviously we can't do like a full game because, the dev time will be, much longer, but here's something we can try, just to see how, it really works. And it looked good actually.
And of course, with a new character standing in for Peter Parker for the Spider-Man game, I assume we'll be getting some costumes. And is there any particular one you're looking forward to playing with?
I will say if they did because I remember for the base game, I think the obviously Marvel Spider-Man, they did do like the Spider-Verse style skin. So that would be cool.
For me, I would like that too, but I kind of want the one with the hoodie.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome.
I don't know if they'll do one with the hoodie or the one without the hoodie, because there's both. Maybe they'll do both. I hope. We'll see. I think we've talked enough about Spider-Man,
but we haven't talked enough about Insomniac, which also I think they had another really awesome game that we need to mention, which is of course the new Ratchet and Clank.
Yes, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, and the dimension hopping is interesting. I think it's really taking advantage of the PS5 SSD of the no loading screens.
Yeah, so obviously we need to mention sort of the Unreal demo, which is where we sort of saw the PS5 in action for the first time. Obviously that whole thing was sort of done by Epic. So what we saw there was, we saw the sort of impressive sort of scale. They can sort of, they can do new, more impressive, more advanced sequences and all that kind of stuff. And they removed the loading screens, which is like what you say here. That's what we're seeing in the new Ratchet and Clank. They're just hopping between dimensions and there's no loading. There's nothing like that.
By the way, just to confirm, is this the video where you see the girl exploring the caves?
The demo?
The Unreal Engine 5.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was amazing. Go on.
There is if you're talking about that demo, there is a minor controversy that there was a hidden loading time in the middle of it, but still impressive nonetheless.
I thought the whole thing about that, because obviously there's that bit, that's the trick a lot of games use. I know Tomb Raider uses it, which is they sort of have the character move through like a crack in the wall or something like that.
I think in current generation, the game that did the best in hiding loading screens has got to be God of War.
Yeah.
It's amazing that you never notice the loading screens. Of course, when you're fast traveling, there is the interdimensional part where it is technically a loading screen. But they do it so well, you don't question it.
Yeah, because the whole thing about this new Ratchet and Clank is you can I think it's one of the first games where you can sort of see the real benefits they've been talking about. You can see, I know specifically they drew attention to the ray tracing.
Especially on Clank.
Yeah, especially on Clank, yeah. Because obviously Ratchet and Clank is like a big name. It's a big franchise. And so for PS5, there's going to be a Ratchet and Clank game for it. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I've not really played them before, but this looks like something I would actually try. Because I'm like, wow.
Of course, something a little less known made possibly a new IP that was announced. Was called Project Athea.
This is from Square Enix.
And Luminescent Studio or something like that. I don't know if I got that right. The first thought I had was of the tech demo. Not because of the graphics, but more due to the traversal gameplay.
Yeah, I was sort of seeing similarities between what Epic showed in that sort of demo and what we were seeing there just a little bit, which kind of made me think, well, okay, so there is so Square Enix is working on something. And
it's exclusive to PS5, which is interesting.
Exactly, yeah. So, which is interesting to find, them doing that, because I don't think, that sort of happened before, has it?
Square Enix did a timed exclusive with Rise of the Tomb Raider on Microsoft's console.
I remember talking to you after we watched the stream where you sort of said, can you imagine if they just did a timed exclusive for one of the other games on this list, and the outrage it would cause, but this isn't timed, I don't think so. I mean, it's sort of very symbolic, I think, of the stream in which we're seeing a mix of old IP and new IP, and we're seeing a mix of AAA games, and we're also seeing indies, which I think, I seem to remember historically with the PS3 and the PS4, the whole thing, Sony was getting criticized for not being easy to develop for. So obviously someone at Sony has obviously taken that criticism to heart and said, for our first stream with the PS5, we want to show you guys that we're working with indie studios and here's some of the stuff they're working on for the PS5.
And speaking of indies, we got an indie game called Stray.
This is from Annapurna Interactive, I think. So in this one, you play as a cat in a post-human world that's populated with robots.
Do you play as the cat?
Apparently you do. I was saying this to Tarun before you came onto our call. I was saying to him, I would play this just for the cat. Let's be honest. This game does look interesting, you have to admit. Tarun's secretly skeptical because he's the only one out of us that doesn't have a cat, so.
Krishna doesn't have a cat either. He just lives with someone who does.
Yeah.
Well, that means you have a cat, so. As anyone who owns a cat will tell you, you don't live with a cat. The cat lives with you.
Yeah, they live with you.
Cool cat game.
Moving on,
day one purchase.
Yes, and moving on, we got another game called Returnal. Very Edge of Tomorrow, Groundhog vibes from this game.
Groundhog Day in space, essentially.
Yeah, I guess that says Groundhog Day concept with a Edge of Tomorrow theme onto it.
With a Prometheus vibe too.
Yes, there is definitely a Prometheus vibe to it. I was just gonna say that. So in this game, essentially, it's about a female astronaut. I don't know if they confirmed her name or who's playing her just yet. Crash landing on a very strange planet where she's supposed, every time she dies, she relives the whole sort of sequence over and over again. And it's sort of like slowly she's losing her mind because of the experience.
And it also appears to reveal her past memories as well, which is interesting since I like the mystery angle there. It might reveal parts of it might reveal how she got to the planet in the first place, or if she's in some sort of matrix,
Yeah, it's a very creepy vibe. Obviously, we have in terms of the games we've seen on the screen, we haven't we haven't seen a lot of them, but this one does look quite interesting, just in terms of the concept and what they're going for. So.
Yeah, I'm looking. I might pick it up. Not totally sure, but it does look very good. Maybe I'll check out a couple. I'll probably be following this game, so any more reveals or whatever they talk about.
Yep. Moving on, we need to talk about Sackboy, who's making a return. Obviously, the protagonist of Little Big Planet. Now it's coming back for a platformer. I believe it's called Sackboy's Adventure or something like that.
Sackboy, a big adventure.
Yeah, okay, yeah. So, obviously, if you're a fan of Little Big Planet, that's coming back in some form or another. So, looking forward to that. New IP, Destruction All-Stars. I don't know what you guys think about that.
Kind of tacky looking.
Ooh, Turin throwing shots.
It looks like a combination of Destruction Derby and just people running around.
Yeah.
Moving on to another game that we just got. Looks kind of interesting, called Kena Bridge of Spirits.
This will also be coming to PC at some point. That's been recently announced since the stream.
But yeah, another indie game. Continuing on that train is Goodbye Volcano High.
Yeah, this one actually stood out to me because a lot of the games we see here involve like shooting guns and shit. Like that gets old after a while. Even for me, I love playing COD. You know how much I love it, but like I like to see some innovation when we're talking about a next-gen console and the games.
Actually, this actually stood out to me as well. Partly for the reason, like Krishna said, it's not like one of your, it's not particularly explosive. It's like not gunfire or anything.
Yeah, from the trailer, it seems to be a story about how a group of high schoolers decide to leave their high school and start a band. Yeah, that's so there's probably some like there's character development there, so which I like.
So what they have there is they include really good narratives. We see in games like Oxenfree and Night in the Woods, which to me they have some of the best writing currently in video gaming, and it's not even from AAA studios or anything like that. So Goodbye Volcano High stands out to me as one of those games where it has a really good story, really good narrative. Just because I know it reminds me of Night in the Woods, which has a really good story, which sort of captures the feeling of decay in rural America, the sort of generational anxiety that I think some people in our generation feel.
Definitely, yeah.
So it sort of really captures that feeling. We live in troubled times, and it sort of captures that feeling inside a video game. You're right to say it does stand out.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about this game. It looks good. Not for me, though. Anyway, moving on, we got We got a reveal of Oddworld Soulstorm, which I'm sure there's a big fan base for. They're looking forward to it. I don't think any of us are really part of that fandom, so sorry if you're not as excited as some of you may be.
I'm sure some people are very excited. It does look interesting, though.
Yeah, it's very. I like the steampunk aesthetic there.
We got more on Ghostwire Tokyo. This time we got some gameplay, and I don't know if I'm more excited for this game. Probably about the
it
same
started off
level.
with a very good vibe, which is a very creepy vibe. So I kind of like that. Obviously, this is from Tango Gameworks, which is the game company set up by Shinji Mikami. We got a little bit of sort of gameplay in there. It does look a bit strange, but still kind of interested in seeing more of that. So
Yeah, it looks very interesting. Some really cool shots, which I don't know how it'll quite play out for the full thing. Probably not pick it up day one, but may pick it up soon. Then we got an announcement on Jet, the Far Shore. Very unsure of what this is.
there is a very sort of like interstellar kind of vibe to it, but I'm not really sure what the game is, to be fair.
And then we got a little bit more on Godfall.
Which is one of the first games announced for the PS5, actually. So we actually got to see more of that now. So.
And I am interested to try it out. Unfortunately, Tim is not, so I may be on this one alone.
I mean, this is from Gearbox Software, isn't it?
It is, but you're not getting it, are you?
Obviously, this was announced for PS5 sort of well before the PS5 was even sort of like, it was very in early days of the PS5 sort of marketing. So yeah, so I remember watching the trailer for it then. Didn't leave much of a strong impression or anything like that. And what I saw in the stream just recently did not really improve on that first impression, if you like. So
then we got Solar Ash, very indie game with a very I wouldn't say unique aesthetic, but an interesting aesthetic.
This is from the creators of Hyperlight Drifter, so some of you guys will know that.
And and moving on, we got another game reveal of Hitman 3.
Does anyone else play Hitman? I don't play it.
I played the prologue for Hitman 2, was it? I don't know, they did like an episodic release of a game they had.
We're not big Hitman fans here, but obviously some of you guys will be. Some of you guys will be really hyped for this which is newly announced. So
I've played quite a bit of the prologue part of the Hitman game, which came out. I think was the most recent one, and it is fun, but it just never sold me on getting the entire season, I guess you would call. Then we got a bit about Astro's Playroom. Yes, very very exciting, very exciting. We got a bit on the Little Devil Inside. Very cool aesthetic on the game. I'm very interested in the cinematography this game had.
Oh yeah, I remember this. It was cutting between the butler and the guy adventuring, right?
I thought he was the boss. That's the impression I got.
I thought it was a boss or like the enemy or something. I don't know.
It seemed like he seemed like a butler to me. Like it seemed like it reminded me of Bruce Wayne when in his early years going out into the world. And
not everyone who looks like Alfred is a butler, Christian.
Yeah, I realized that.
Yeah, and then we got an exciting exhilarating reveal NBA 2K21.
Do we want to talk about this or no?
Let's move on.
And then we got something incredible. Anyway, since none of us here care about basketball, we can move on to the next game. That, oh my god, I cannot believe this is a thing.
Is this from an Australian developer?
I don't know, but whatever it is, someone's doing something right or something very wrong. We got Bug Snacks.
How best to sum up this game is the question.
Basically, you eat. So you eat bugs, which eat other bugs, and you grow body parts that look like snacks.
Also, but also the bugs are fruit with googly eyes. When I was watching the stream, I distinctly remember texting Tarun the words, "Why is there a strawberry with googly eyes?" Which just about sums up, our reaction to that game.
I'll say after whatever the fuck that was, we got an announcement on a Demon's Souls remake. for any fans of those Soulsborne games, I'm sure you guys are excited. Me recently getting into some of these Soulsborne games, I am a little piqued. It did pique my interest a bit.
Obviously, this whole it's a remake, not a remaster, I believe, and it's being handled by Bluepoint Games, who were the studio responsible for the PS4 remake of Shadow of the Colossus.
Remaster,
sorry, which is obviously that was a really good remaster. We enjoyed it quite a lot when it came out on PS Plus. So rest assured, it's in good hands, I think.
Yes. So I'll say after the Demon Souls remake trailer, we right away moved on to Deathloop.
This was actually announced not during the stream, but it's been announced for quite a while now, I think. This is from Arcane, and Bethesda is publishing. So obviously this is the one where there are two assassins facing off against each other, and they sort of come back to life after the kill.
I thought I kind of knew what the game was like when they first revealed it, but now I'm a little more curious.
Yeah, they did show a little bit of gameplay there.
I thought it was like a 2-player 1v1, but it seems like it's a bit more than that. I'm not sure, but it looks great. I'm a huge fan of their Dishonored series, and this plays a lot like that, and I'm not mad. I'm just very excited for it, actually.
In the same sort of vein, I do kind of wish they were doing Prey 2, because they made Prey, and Prey was amazing. Underrated game, like actually underrated game.
Yeah. So back to Deathloop. What did you guys think of the trailer? I thought it was a little weird, honestly. Like,
there's some style
there was so much of an emphasis on, oh, you're dying and dying again. Isn't this fun?
I would say this, at least it looks original.
But I'm like, I don't want to die. I want to succeed. I want to kill everybody. That's what I'm here
Well,
to
I'm
do.
assuming you will eventually.
Well, Krishna, may I recommend you to play? So what should it be? Play Bloodborne.
Oh God, please do.
Okay, why would you recommend that to me?
Just so you can get used to the idea of death.
Okay.
I mean,
I doubt this is a Soulsborne type game, but it does look pretty fun.
it's very stylish, is what I'm gonna say about it.
Yeah.
This is like this. I like that it's original. You know what I mean? It's not like they just try to reboot or rehash something.
It is something I expect from Arcane. Dishonored was a very stylish game.
That's true.
So I hope, obviously this would be as well. And yeah, it's looking good, and I am excited for it.
Moving on. So Sony obviously scored a very big reveal, which is of course Resident Evil Village. So in this one, it's sort of implied you'll be playing as the protagonist of Resident Evil 7. Got a shot of some werewolves. Very creepy town.
Were werewolves a thing in Resident Evil before, or is this a new thing?
It's a new thing, I think. I mean, there were some rumors going around before this whole stream that Re8 was going to be announced soon, and that it was going to have werewolves in it. So obviously that's turned out to be true. It looks very creepy though. So they nailed the atmosphere. I would say that. So, yeah.
And it seems like Chris Redfield is only getting buffer.
And more evil.
And more evil, yeah. Well, we don't know. We don't know the context. We don't know the context of why he did what he did.
Apparently there was sort of background material that game sort of leaked. This sort of leading into the whole psychological horror sort of thing. Apparently the protagonist is going to be hallucinating and stuff like that. So there is a question of whether that whole thing is real or he's just imagining it. So there is that. So I will say I do like the look of it. It's very creepy, very scary. I remember you saying to me, Tarun, that you like, I kind of want to play it, but I also kind of don't.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's pretty good summary of how I feel about it as well.
I mean, it's only because I think I would have never played, I would have never thought of playing this game if I think Resident Evil 2 never came out.
I mean, I will say that the series is in a very good place right now. Obviously with Re 7, Re 2, Re 3, they've been going, they have a good run going, I think.
Yeah, let's move on to Pragmata. Yeah, this one is the spaceman that comes down to a destroyed Earth, picks up a girl, and then...
Well, I don't know if he picked up a girl. That girl somehow connected to him, for sure.
I mean, not picked up in that way. I mean, like...
Yeah.
He
we
sort of rescues a girl.
Well, not even rescued, just I don't know what happened there. It's all very confusing.
That's scheduled for 2022 release, I think.
When I first saw the trailer, I immediately thought Death Stranding, just because the aesthetic of it is very much like that. And looking back as well, the entire trailer is just as confusing as the Death Stranding trailer would be. But it's not. It has nothing to do with Kojima. It has nothing to do with Kojima Productions. It looks very interesting. Don't know at all what the game is going to look. Well, I guess we know what it's going to look like. Just don't know how it's going to play. And what really the story is. We just know that there's instead of real cats, we have holographic cats, which is kind of creepy looking.
I know Tim is a fan of Horizon Zero Dawn, right?
Yep, which is, of course, the last thing we're going to mention in terms of this the games on this PS5 stream. So there is a sequel, Horizon Forbidden West. No release date yet. I don't even know what to say. I'm beyond hyped for this. Yeah, in the trailer, we've seen there's so much there unpacking. It's just like we see Aloy diving underwater like a coral reef. Some eagle-eyed people inspecting the trailer have seen that obviously the title suggests Forbidden West. So she's going to the western part of what used to be the United States. If you go back and watch the trailer, you can actually see part of it, the ruins of the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Obviously, she's going to be in post-apocalyptic California, which is like so cool. And I'm a huge fan, like Rich just said, of the first game, so I'm just like beyond hyped for this game. I cannot wait. The only thing that gets me, there's no release date for it.
Well, at least they showed us more than Bethesda ever could with Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield.
That was not a reveal. Okay.
No, I'm beyond hype as well as you are, and I am very much looking forward to grabbing this game whenever it's out.
I mean, obviously the big thing about Horizon was the graphics, and this looks insane.
Yes, it has a very interesting aesthetic to it. Even though it's realistic, I think what they do with the color, how they play with the colors, and also like all the monsters themselves, they look incredible. I just want to see this run on the PlayStation 5 with ray tracing involved. Just how much more vibrant the world can look and how much more alive it could look with all those factors in the game.
Top moment for me of the stream. No contest.
For me, it's just the beginning and end is where I was really hyped. It's Spider-Man, Ratchet and Clank, and Horizon. Okay, so I think that's all the games out the way. We went through every single release of the game there was, and now we can move on to the console reveal.
What do we think of the console?
It's very big.
Oh my god. Well, don't.
It's like 20% bigger. It looks 20% bigger than the PS4.
Don't ever say to us that you don't get enough good analysis on this channel. What do you guys think of the new design? Oh, it looks big.
It's big, yeah.
When viewed from the front, the shape of the PS5, the regular console with the disc, it looks like a snail to me. With the fins pointing outward that look like the snail's eyes. And
my favorite description of it has been a Wii pretending to be Batman.
A Wii pretending to be Batman. If you guys know Boss Logic, he did a Photoshop of it. Yeah. And I can't believe I didn't see it before, but if you guys know Cell from Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like his headpiece. It's not really his headpiece, it's his head, but it looks like that in his perfect Cell form. And I can't believe I did not see that before. And it does look just like it.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I will say this, which is that people are now memeing the hell out of it, which, sort of playing right into Sony's hands of, here, do the advertising for us. Kind of.
Yeah. There was one picture where he photoshopped the PS5 onto the Pope's head. Did you see that?
Yeah, I did.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I think the overall design of it is growing on me, I think.
Yeah, it looks very futuristic, and I love the blue glow they have in between the white enclosure and the black main body.
It does look. I think I do like it. It's growing on me, I think. When I first saw it, I was like, okay, I'm not sure about that. For the first time ever, I think, in Sony's history, what we're getting is two versions of the console at launch. So there will be a PS5 console with a disc drive, and then there will be what they call the PS5 Digital Edition, which doesn't have the disc drive. Now, the one thing we haven't heard from in any of this marketing material is how much these consoles are going to cost. We don't know how much the Xbox is going to cost either. So obviously, right now, I think the guess is that the digital edition will cost less than the console with the disc drive, just because taking out the disc drive means you'd have to pay to have that component in, if you like. So interesting move. For the Xbox One S, they did try to do that, release an edition without the digital, just solely digital without the disc drive. Mixed reviews, that particular version of the Xbox One S. But I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to make sure people aren't priced out of the market, if you like. But overall impressions, quite impressed by the console. I mean, Sony said they wanted to have, be very forward-facing with the new design, and well, this does do that from a certain perspective. So,
well, I think they also clarified on the reasoning behind the design they went for, which was they wanted, I don't know, they made a weird point, which is they wanted it to look like as a part of your living room.
I don't know what part of my living room looks like that, but okay.
I hope they have an alternate color scheme as well for this, because white looks fine, but I think the black consoles look better.
Yeah, that's obviously another thing they haven't mentioned, whether it will come in a different color or not. But obviously what we sort of see now, I think, is the whole question of price, because I remember reading rumors that Microsoft hasn't announced a price for the Xbox Series S because they're waiting for Sony to announce theirs first.
They're both waiting for each other.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's just going to be like, expect that to be like a dominant conversation in the months to come, because it's just like, one of you is going to have to go first, okay? And one of you is going to have to bite it. I mean, well, here's the thing. Let's talk about the stream overall. Overall impressions, pretty good, I think.
Yeah, way better than the last spec meeting that we had.
Yeah, so essentially what you've had up until now, I think, is, Microsoft's just been hitting tennis balls, if you want to use that analogy, straight to Sony's, side of the court. And with this, Sony's hit the ball back. So it's now, Microsoft's turn to play, if you like.
And I think that's everything from our gaming section of our podcast. And wow, there was a lot.
I mean,
in terms of movies, in terms of news for movies and stuff, I think we got recently confirmed Snyder Cut release.
Yay!
As you can tell, Krishna loves the idea.
Yeah. It's time.
I mean, let's talk about this, because obviously this comes at the very end of a very long and very hard fought campaign by fans to get the so-called Snyder Cut released.
So basically the story behind this, for those people who don't know, is that Justice League was a shit movie. It was released in 2017 because Warner Brothers didn't have any confidence at all in Snyder's version, probably due to how Batman v Superman did in the box office. And so
didn't it do good in the box office, but critical reception was bad?
Yeah, critical reception was bad. Yeah, sorry, my bad. But I mean, even so, it could have made a lot more money, like at least $1 billion, if it was good. So it only made like 872 million, that movie. So anyway, during the production of Justice League, he had to leave the project. So Warner Brothers brought in Joss Whedon and new composer as well, Danny Elfman, to finish the movie. But they cut out a lot of his stuff. So people have been asking for them to release the real version of the movie, as they say. And so since then, the campaign for the Snyder Cut has existed, and it's finally happening. What do you guys think?
First of all, I gotta applaud the fans who actually stuck to this campaign, because
man, they were dedicated. Okay, they're putting up billboards and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, long ago it looked like it's not gonna happen, and it's very rare for big corporate companies like Warner Bros. To actually listen to fans and on this stuff. But I guess it finally got through and it worked. I know a lot of the cast are very excited, which speaks levels for this cut actually. And it's also basically the cast admitting that Justice League was a really shit film.
Yeah.
But no, I am personally looking forward to the cut. I don't know if it will be. See, I don't expect it to be great, only because Snyder's history with superhero movies has been very poor. But I don't think it'll be worse than what we got.
Yeah. Also, it's important to remember that I think they're planning this not as a movie, but like as a documentary or a TV show of sorts. From what we've heard, they're going to release it on HBO Max.
Yeah, it's still going to be a movie. It's just not a theatrical release.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, will it make the movie worse? Which I think the answer is no, because I don't know how you could make it worse.
You'd have to really try.
You'd have to really try very hard to make it worse.
Yeah, that's true.
The question of whether it would be better is, well, I'm assuming, of course, it would be at least a little bit better. Yeah, at the same time, I don't think it's going to be suddenly elevated to, amazing kind of level.
Yeah. So we should keep our expectations in check, of course.
I know Tim and I have our expectations very low because for us, Snyder movies haven't been that great. But I know Krishna, you really like Snyder movies a lot.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate them for their aesthetic quality and ambitiousness. And also, I liked Man of Steel a lot. So
and BVS.
And Batman v Superman, but yeah, I admit it was kind of shit. Like some parts of it.
Oh, he finally admitted. Oh, okay.
Martha, right? that part. So, but
yeah.
Anyway,
say what you will about Martha scene. It's in the end, it was executed poorly.
Yeah, the Ultimate Edition adds a lot more story to Batman v Superman, and it made the movie a lot better, in my opinion. So I think that's what's going to happen in this case. The extra storyline and additional characters like Darkseid, I'm excited for those. I think they'll make it better.
Does Darkseid show up, or is it just his lasers?
Yeah. Apparently he will, yeah.
Yeah, they're not adding scenes in the Snyder Cut. They're removing a lot of the reshooted scenes by Whedon. Basically, anything Whedon shot, they're getting rid of. So that's already like more than half the movie.
Yeah, good riddance in my opinion, because those scenes were actually like shit. They either didn't fit in or they appealed to like the lowest common denominator.
But it does kind of still suck that Snyder is not going to be able to do exactly what he wants to do because he's still limited. He can't do reshoots, so he has to stick with what he's got. He can still do ADR, which is good. With the current situation of the world, he kind of has to anyway. But yeah, no reshoots, and he got a fair amount of budget to do this. Like he got a $30 million budget, which I think most of it, all of it, in fact, is going in. Actually, no, I think most of it will go into the VFX to finish the movie.
I feel like this isn't going to be a movie.
This is not going to be any worse, and it's a very intriguing experiment.
I feel like this is going to be a documentary rather than a movie.
It's going to be a movie.
Kind of like the death of Superman Lives, what happened.
Maybe the first few minutes, but maybe not even then, because the few minutes of where I think the phone recording of Superman with the weird face thing.
God.
That was a Joss Whedon thing. That was a reshoot.
I mean, if you guys go back and you watch Justice League, which I don't recommend you do because it is terrible. What you do see is like you can tell which directors shot which bits.
Yeah.
And it's really, really, really awful.
You can tell because of the color grading.
Yeah, and there's other stuff as well. Particularly towards the end, you can just tell they injected so much humor, and it's just incredibly forced. And it's just like, oh, please do not. Oh God.
Let's move on to a movie from the future, which is Tenet.
Christopher Nolan's latest. Recently announced it's going to be delayed.
Yes, the original date was July 17th, but now it's going to be released on the 31st. And instead of releasing Tenet on the 17th. They're now going to have Inception 10th anniversary screenings. Are you guys excited for Tenet? What do you think of the newest trailer?
My expectations of it are they're kind of affected by what's going on around us right now. So I want to say that I'm looking forward to it because I am, but it's sort of like there's literally nothing else on at the moment. So
Just
I guess
sort of dampened excitement. Is that
yeah? So it's
the
sort
way
of
to
like
described it?
yeah, essentially because it's like well, I'm excited for it. But part of it, that excitement is because it's the only thing that's coming out pretty much in terms of theater release. So otherwise, it's kind of a bit dead.
I would say I'm excited for it because it's a Christopher Nolan movie, Tim.
Yeah, but that goes without saying, though.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that it's the only movie that'll be out the only new movie that'll be out since the theaters are open, I wouldn't say that's a part of why I'm excited for it. That's just what it is, like what's happening.
Yeah.
Part of me is just excited to have like anything new come out.
I think what this movie has going for it is a lot of people want to go back to theaters.
Yep.
So, and it doesn't hurt that the first movie they might see is something from Christopher Nolan. Yeah.
Christopher Nolan's latest, yeah.
However, there's a lot for the movie to do. There's a lot riding on this movie in terms of like box office, because they're probably not gonna have theaters are not gonna have so many people watch a movie at once. They might have less people, more spaced out, sitting, 2 seats apart or something, and they might have a longer showing period for this movie. So
we'll see how they deal with it. I know even for us here in Thailand that they said once they open the cinemas back up, they will have the policy of having each individual person sit 2 seats apart.
They're actually open now, to be fair. But since they're only showing old movies and they're really limited the seating, I don't think many people are going, to be honest. This is a good time to talk about what we've been doing in our free time. So what have you guys been doing in your free time?
well, last night I was playing some COD. I spent an hour leveling up my Grau. It's a pretty good gun. I think I found a good loadout for it.
I've been rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender.
You guys can check out my latest opinion piece on why it is like one of the greatest TV shows ever, and I will stand by that.
Actually, in fact, just today, I finished the last season, and wow, I feel like I finished it in like a matter of 4 days.
It is amazing. Let's face it. It is. There's no getting around it. It is amazing. Pure and simple. If you guys haven't watched it, go and watch it. That's the whole point of the article I wrote. Go.
Yeah, Krishna, it's in the US now. You don't have an excuse.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to start any TV show right now because I have to. I'm preparing for an exam on the 20th, so I'll start it after that.
Greatest TV show ever.
All right. What do we think of COD Season 4?
I will say this: I'm getting more annoyed with Activision, just because the file sizes. It's
honestly, I might just delete it next week.
Yeah, no, I've been coming close to that myself because it is like
it's actually
I was prepared
it's
to go
ridiculous.
with it. I was prepared to roll with it up to a certain extent, but this is just getting ridiculous now.
What's your limit? At what point would you delete the game finally? When it reaches 200 gigabytes? It's 172 for me.
It's at 197, I feel like.
Really?
See,
for
I
most,
don't know, there's like a data limit exactly. There's no number limit.
For most people, it's at 197.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mine is 172.
It's just ridiculous. At this point.
I stopped my install of Spec Ops. I think that's why it's only.
I should probably do that, but
you should probably uninstall some of the packs.
Yeah, but even so, it's just been ridiculous. And I know we're not the only people to complain about it. It's like,
yeah, there have been enough complaints.
But yeah, as soon as Last of Us 2 comes out and I get that in my hands, I am most likely deleting Call of Duty.
You hear that, Activision? You hear that?
You're going out the door.
That's your deadline. Last of Us 2.
Well, thank you guys for listening to the podcast. If you enjoyed listening, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and keep up on our latest videos that we'll be uploading every week here. Also, please follow our social media on Instagram and Twitter at Presso to Couch.
Links in the description below.
Yes.
That's
Right.
it. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Stay safe, stay healthy.